Danhausen here to let you know that you are watching Dre41 Gaming. They do video games of some sort. Who knows? Danhausen doesn't. But you're very nice, very evil, do time. And if you do not watch this channel, you shall rue the day.
Okay. No, and that makes sense too. I mean, just taking your time with it and making sure the product that you put out is the best product it can be, and then updating it periodically. We don't need a franchise that comes out every year, because then you rush in the product and then you lose quality after a certain amount of times. But yeah.
So I was just going to say, I don't really play the WWE games. And so I actually had to ask people, like, you know, when you create, because I see lots of people, they spend so much time creating characters for WWE 2K22, and so 2K23's come out, and I'm like, so can you just transfer your characters over, or you have to start from scratch? They're like, you start from scratch. I'm like, oh my god, every year you have to do that. Oh,
Craziness. But talk to me about the roster. Now you did say that you had to basically start from scratch and make a original roster. What's the number, if you can say, what would you want? What's your good number of characters that you want to have in the game?
Well, I'm not actually sure what the launch number is going to be, but there has to be enough characters to sustain a certain for the career mode, to sustain like a base career mode, to sustain you know, a certain number of promotions, have a certain number of characters. I would say there'd probably be, I'd say there'd be at least 100 different characters launch. But another idea as well is there shouldn't really, I've not fully tested this, maybe there's a reason that games don't do it, but right now, if you want to create a character, you need a character slot, and you only get so many character slots. I'm not sure why you can't just have like however much storage space you have on your device, you know, just fill that up. I don't know. I don't know why that isn't a thing. Now I'm saying that, but I know other games don't do that. So I hope I don't put that out there and then I run into a reason why that's not possible. But
Fire Pro kinda does it. So if you have like the one I have for the computer, like, is based more off of your space, so I can keep creating, they call them edits, so I can keep creating edits until I run out of computer space.
Awesome.
It bolsts it up, but yeah, as long as I have the space, I'm able to make them. So I think that's, as far as I know, that's the only one that does anything like that. So for yours to do that'll be good in my book.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's possible, and I don't see a reason why. The only thing that makes me think it's not possible is because the WWE games don't do it. But if Fire Pro does it, then yeah, it should be fine. It shouldn't be an issue. So I'm thinking maybe promotions, there might be a limit on that, just because of the way the career mode works. The promotions are kind of assigned around regions. So there may be a cap on that just because of how that works. But there's also a timeline as well. So there's promotions, you sort of decide when your promotion starts, and your promotion could end. Your promotion could end in like 1996, and then that space becomes available. So then like 1998, that region could become, I don't know, Ring of Honor or something like further down the line. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so I'm sorry, you were saying?
Is there going to be like a? Is it going to be like a what did they do? Like a 24? Like it just, the career mode keeps going, or will it have like a timeline? Like it has to stop at a certain point.
Well, so the career mode's kind of going to have an AI sort of thing to it, which makes it, it's not going to be typical script. Like, okay, this happens in this part in the career mode, you're involved in a storyline with whatever. Like, storylines will kind of be generated on the fly from a list of types of storylines, but there's no real reason for it to end, because it just works kind of dynamically. Like, whatever is going on in the world in the career mode, that prompts other events. So yeah, there's no real reason for it to, obviously we'll get to like 2030 and you know, you'll be like, I don't remember this happening, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you were speaking about like your enjoyment of the Aki games. Now within the Aki games and the story mode themselves, they have branching storylines. Is that something that you are interested in possibly implementing in your game, or do you have a different idea?
Yeah, well, it was obviously anything that I'm doing with this game. I first look at the AKI game because I'm not just trying to make a game that's kind of similar to that. I'm trying to make a game from the perspective of the developers who made that game. So even like anytime I want to introduce a new move, I'm looking at the move and thinking, how would the AKI guys have done this? How would it have looked if it was made by those developers? So yeah, it's the career mode, the storylines. I look at that first. The problem is though with the branching storylines like that on the AKI, they all have to be sort of pre-written before. So that it will be branching in the sense that it's up to you whether or not you want to, a situation gets presented to you, and so if you end up, I'm trying to think of an example, like if you're in a tag team and you end up double crossing your tag team partner, so that will branch off into then your career will kind of go in a different direction than it otherwise would have. But it's not necessarily set that, oh, because you did that, now we're going to trigger this cutscene where someone else comes up to you and now they want to be attacked. Like it's very on the fly, sort of based on lots of different situations in that promotion at that time, how much money the promotion has, lots of different factors go into what the next event happens. So essentially, the idea is that every single time you play the career mode, it's a completely different experience every single time, because it's based off of so many different factors going on. But then it's also not a script that's written out. It's dynamic. It's this happened, so this happened, but it might not have happened because of that happened. Like
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, a bit confused.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense in regards to the story itself. But another thing I've seen on one of your videos where it was a Survivor Series type of match, 5-on-5. How does that work in game? And is there have you perfected it to where it's just as smooth as playing one-on-one matches, or how would we expect to play that?
So what I did was I basically loaded in a bunch of guys, had them all animating, had them all rigged up, and it seems to be fine. So I mean, I also need to get into, I haven't made referee mechanics yet, so there's not another referee character there. But yeah, it's a weird one as well, because like it can be running fine on the computer, and then who knows, maybe once we port it to the Switch or something, we might run into problems that might come up with, oh, it's kind of dropping frame rate here, so we'd have to go back and check. So there's a lot of stuff this is what we hope to have happen. There shouldn't be any problem. It should be smooth. If it turns out not to be, then we'll just have to rework it and make it work. I mean, you look at the Ndicky's Wrestling Revolution, and they've got 50 guys on screen at one time, and it's fine. So I think that's another reason as well to sort of look back at those AKI games where you could only have 4 guys on screen at one time. That the technology's moved on so much that's another thought that comes to mind, is like, can you imagine a Royal Rumble on those AKI games, but with no breaks in between? It's just full on 30 guys in the ring. It would be magical.
Yeah,
So,
that would be crazy. But another aspect, moves. That's a big thing in any wrestling game. What is the process like in that? What are you looking forward to in regards to the moves? Is it going to be something deep, or are you going more of the simplistic route?
again, it's just looking back to the AKI games, seeing what they did, but also not trying to just carbon copy those moves completely. A lot of people are asking about create a move and all that stuff, which it's very difficult to do that. But one thing I do sort of think about is, so with the AKI games, you had lots of different positions from which you could do moves from. So of course you've got front lock up, that's a position you can do moves from, back lock up, whatever. So if you then incorporate, well, what if the headlock, rather than that, if you do a headlock in the AKI games, he wrenches them a couple of times and then punches them. So I'm like, well, what if that's another position you can do moves from? So he does the headlock, and then from there, you push down an A, you might do a drop hold, or you push up an A, you might do something else from that. Or if the guy reverses it from that position, it leads to different things. So then you think you break it down like that, and then there's like, okay, there's lots of different little positions, like a front face lock. From there, you can turn into a suplex, you can turn into a DDT, depending on if you push up or down. It's just there's so many different positions from which you'd be able to do different moves from. So then I started thinking maybe we could create a move from basically in the character creator. You can create the move by just setting up what the positions are, whether or not, let's say you put the guy in between your legs, and then from there that's like a block of your created move, and then from there you could do a taunt. So he's between your legs, but part of the move is you do the Razor Ramon. You've done that in the creator wrestler rather than that's just a move that's sitting there. Or you go to do a suplex and you say, oh, I'm going to put a taunt in here. That's another an addition to that move, and then you pick them up, and then you start thinking, well, what if when you pick them up, should it be up to you to then drop them, or should we be able to walk around? It starts getting a bit, there's too much, there's too many options. So then you kind of have to reel it back in and go, no, okay, let's just do the suplex. Let's just not think about that just now. Maybe in a further edition. But
So in regards to like the features that you do have set for this game, I do see a lot of wrestling game modes that you do have in there. But let's also talk about possibly expanding where the fights take place. Is there going to be possibly backstage? Is there going to be different areas in which you can have these matches?
Yeah, there will be a backstage, and primarily because the career mode, that is going to be the hub of the career mode, is going to be backstage. So when you're backstage, that's where, if you decide that you're fed up with the promotion that you're in, you can move to another promotion. All that's done backstage. If you decide you're ready for your match, that's done backstage. If you decide that you want to change your costume, that's done backstage. So when you first start the career mode, anytime you start the career mode, anytime you put the game, load it up, put the game in, like
yeah, right.
Yeah,
load the cartridge.
Yeah, load the cartridge, put the game in. Load it up, and you will start the career mode in the backstage area. And so from there, each room will have its own sort of function. So obviously the locker room will be where you change your attire. The gorilla position is where you decide that, okay, the match that you're scheduled for tonight, you're going to initiate, you're going to start that match. So yeah, there'll be lots of different areas that have sort of reasons for them being areas. And then of course, because we're building all that out anyway, it's like, oh, well, of course you're going to be able to, during the match, take it backstage and wrestle in those parts as well.
Okay, all right. So here's what I want to do. I want to go into rapid fire questions. Now you could say yes, no, or no comment, and that's fine. All right. First one, commentary.
No.
Okay. Second one, intergender matches.
Yes.
Okay. Blood.
Yes.
Ranking system, whether in career mode or if possibly online somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one so this one is and this is all based on, how this game is developed, but facial animations.
Yes.
Okay. As far as create a wrestler goes, you said that you wanted to, so you kind of answered that one already, but the one where it's like, based on memory, how many you can create. So, but let's say if there was a cap, let's say, would it be in the 3 digits?
If there was a cap?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
All right. And as far as different promotions, are we talking about ones from around the world? Made up, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Hey, that's my rapid questions, Ken.
I'm good with those.
Hey, okay. Well, yeah, that's our time here. I definitely appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna keep watching everything you do.
Absolutely.
I'm very intrigued about this game. Thank you very much for being a guest on, and yeah, we look forward to see what you have coming out.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, not a problem.
I'll be sharing this everywhere.
Absolutely. I'll send you the link first. You'll see it. But
Yeah.
thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Catch you guys on the next episode later. All right. Talk to you later.
Yeah, catch you later. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for being on. See you later.
Yeah, see ya.